nutrients. Manure and fertilizer together defined definition is substances which are added to the plants to increase the nutrient content of the plant is called manure and a fertilizer. So coming to only fertilizer. So what is fertilizer? Fertilizer is nothing but an inorganic salt. See, like your body, it needs vitamins and minerals to grow. You take vitamin supplements for your body to grow and some additional supplements, additional energy. So the same way soil requires fertilizers. Fertilizers are like vitamins for the soil and fertilizers are nothing but inorganic salts or chemicals you may call. So fertilizers provide the main nutrients to the soil. So what are the main nutrients to the soil? N, P and K. What is N, what is P, what is K? Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. And always nitrogen is in higher content. N is greater than P, P is greater than K. That means in increasing content, nitrogen is required more, then comes phosphorus, then comes potassium. So if you require only nitrogen to the soil in the form of fertilizer, you can add urea. So suppose if you require only phosphorus to the soil, then you can add superphosphate. Then if you require both N and P, that is nitrogen and potassium to the soil, then you can add potassium nitrate. These are the examples of fertilizers. Then you might have seen many fertilizers available in the many fertilizer and pesticide shop. They will be available in the form of white bags. They will be written urea, Nagarjuna fertilizer, superphosphate, super nitrates. So all these comes under fertilizers. So now coming to the next. What are the advantages of fertilizers? Fertilizers are always easy to handle and store. They will be stored in bags and they are very easy to spray. Then next, they remove the deficiency, specific deficiency. If the soil has either of these three deficiency, N, P or K, then the fertilizer removes that specific deficiency from the soil. Then it increases the yield. So as I told you, yield is nothing but the amount of crop you harvest after planting. So the amount of crop you get after harvesting of the crop is nothing but yield. So yield is usually the quantity of the crop what you get. So adding of fertilizers increases the yield to the farmer. Next, what are the disadvantages of using fertilizer? Fertilizer is first of all expensive. Not all farmers can use it. Then excessive use makes the soil barren. Soil will get immunity to that particular fertilizer. So you cannot use excessively. Then it changes the pH of the soil. What is pH? The nature of the soil. So as you know, pH is always calculated on a scale of 7. It can be either acidic or basic. So excessive use of fertilizer changes the pH of the soil. Then excessive use of fertilizer is there. It mixes with the water which is irrigated into the crop. Then it causes water pollution. Okay. So what can you do if you have to limit the amount of fertilizer? You can use the combination of a manure and a fertilizer to the soil. That is one good thing what you can do. Otherwise what you can do is fallowing of the soil. Fallowing of the soil means leaving the soil uncultivated without any crop for 6 months. Leave the soil uncultivated for 6 months so that the soil gains back its nutrients. That is called fallowing of the soil. One more thing what you can do is crop rotation. Suppose if the first 6 months you have cultivated wheat, the government suggests you to cultivate the next 6 months another crop like paddy. If you are cultivating two different crops, then there is an exchange of nutrients. So that makes the soil again nutrient rich, even if the fertilizer is present. Then one more thing is growing mixed crops. Mixed crop means in one area of land you can grow two alternate crops. Like if you can grow soya bean with haldi or pea with the gram. That way one crop will require less nutrients and the other crop will require more nutrients. Thereby there will be balance of the nutrients in the soil. Next, coming to manure. What is manure? It is nothing but an organic material. Organic means natural material made up of decomposed plants and leaves like dry dead leaves, animal excreta and everything composes manure. You also read about vermicompost and panchgavya in your earlier classes, right? What is vermicompost and panchgavya? Vermicompost is nothing but adding natural substances like leaves of sugarcane, coir of coconut, then sugarcane juice, then dried leaves along with the animal excreta and earthworms and soil. All these constitutes vermicompost. Then panchgavya. Panchgavya are all the products of cow. which helps us add in as manure to the soil. It helps in increasing the yield of the soil. So the definition of manure is nothing but an organic substance made up of decomposed plants and animal products. Then what are the uses of manure? Manure, if you add organic and natural substances to the soil, it increases the water holding capacity. That means the soil can retain more amount of water. Then it improves the texture of the soil. Texture is nothing but the quality. When you hold, you can feel the soil texture when you take the soil in your hand. That is the quality of the soil. Then adding the manure makes the soil porous. Porous is nothing but full of pores. If there are pores, then lot of atmospheric oxygen will be incorporated in that. So that way it increases the earthworms and microbes can breathe well and makes the soil nutrient rich. Then it increases the microbes. Manure is composed of all organic products, right? So thereby there will be many microorganisms in that. So adding manure increases the microbes of the soil. Next, I'll tell you a simple experiment. Take 3 glasses of water and soil. First 3 soil, then add little water. Along with the soil, in the first glass, add cow dung. That is an organic manure, natural manure and organic manure. In the second glass, along with the soil, add urea. Urea is nothing but a fertilizer. It contains nitrogen. And in the third glass, add only soil. Do not add anything. Then put some seeds and daily water the plants and wait for germination. So after some days, what you observe, the size of the growth of the plants is equal in the first 2 classes when you have added natural manure or fertilizer, whereas the size of the plant which has grown in the third class without any fertilizer or manure is little bit less. So what you understand, adding the natural manure or fertilizer improves the yield of the plant or improves the size of the plant. Then coming to the last topic in this, differences between fertilizer and a manure. So what is fertilizer? Fertilizer is the first difference. Fertilizer is an inorganic salt, whereas what is manure? Manure is a natural substance made of decomposing plants and animal matter. Then next, fertilizer is made in factories. Then manure is prepared in fields, right? Everybody understood? Then fertilizer, it provides the major nutrients to the soil like N, P and K, whereas manure, it contains less amount of the natural nutrients. Then fertilizer doesn't provide humus or moisture to the soil, whereas manure provides lots of moisture into the soil and thereby improves the water holding capacity. So after this we can move to the next step, that is irrigation of the soil. So what is the definition of irrigation? The supply of water to the crops at different intervals is called irrigation. The supply of water to the crops at different intervals is called irrigation. So what is the need for the irrigation? Why do you need to water the plants? So as you know, all of us, plants, animals and human beings cannot live with water. And without water, the plant seeds do not germinate after adding fertilizers also. So that's why you need irrigation. And to protect the crop from extreme temperatures like extreme hot currents or extreme frostbite or extreme winter, water is necessary. So irrigation is the process of adding water to the crops at different intervals. The need for irrigation is for the growth of the plants to make food, for the plants to survive extreme hot and cold temperatures like frostbite and extreme hot temperatures. We need to irrigate the plants. So what are the methods of irrigation? There are 2 methods followed to irrigate the plants. They are traditional methods and modern methods. Traditional means old methods which are usually not followed nowadays by the farmers. So there are 4 traditional methods. It's called moat or pulley system. You know, you might have seen in olden houses, there will be water well, and with the help of rope they pull the water in the bucket. That is nothing but moat or pulley system. Then chain pump. Like your cycle chains, there will be chain rotating around the well, so that way the water will be pulled. Then rahat or lever system is adapted here. Then dhegri is also one more system. So for all these systems you either need biogas. Biogas is what? Gas produced from the animal excreta, dung and everything in the waste products. Electricity or solar energy or cattle or human power you use, or you need electricity for all this pump. For all these methods to be followed, you need either biogas, electricity, solar energy, cattle power, human power or electric pumps. So these methods are usually less effective and they include lot of human labor and cattle also. So next, coming to the modern methods. Modern methods are two: sprinkling method and drip irrigation method. Sprinkling method is nothing but from a well a pump will be attached. To that many iron pipes will be attached, to which many iron nozzles will be there. That nozzles will be able to rotate 360 degrees, and from the one main pipe many perpendicular pipes will be attached, which will go and supply water to every plant. From the main well a big pump will be attached. From that pump a big iron pipe will be attached, and that iron pipe will have an iron nozzle which is rotatable. So that pipe will have many perpendicular pipes through which the water goes to all the plants, and it acts like a rainy system. It sprinkles waters uniformly to all the plants. This works where there is lot of water, where there is no water scarcity. In such regions, sprinkle irrigation works. Next, coming to drip irrigation. Drip means coming drop by drop. When you get sick, sometimes if you get weak, they put salines to your body, right? Salines is nothing but the glucose bottles. They put a syringe and then they attach saline bottles to you, right? Through a cannula. So have you ever observed the saline bottles, from that saline or glucose falls drop by drop? So that is same process applied here. Drip. Saline is also called as drip, where water falls drop by drop. So that method is applied here. Drip irrigation. Drip irrigation is a place where again through a main pump or a well, a pump is attached. From that many perpendicular pipes go. But in this method, the pipes supply water directly to the root part of the plant. Remember, in the drip irrigation method, the water is supplied directly to the root part of the plant. Thereby, it prevents lots of water. There will be no water loss at all. So places where there is less water or places where there is drought, this method can be used because this method takes very less amount of water. The water directly falls to the root part of the plants and drop by drop. So that is drip irrigation. So what are the advantages of drip irrigation? It is more effective. Doesn't require much human labor. Then what is the one disadvantage? It is more expensive. This drip irrigation is more expensive. So this is all about irrigation. Now let's move to the next step, that is protection from the weeds. This is protection from the weeds. So what is the definition of weeding? The removal of weeds from a crop is called weeding. So what do you understand by weed? Weed is nothing but an undesirable plant or an extra plant. Weed is nothing but an undesirable plant or an extra plant. So weeding is nothing but the removal of weeds from a crop. So how can weeds be prevented? You remember the first step, right? Tilling or sowing, loosening and moving of the soil up and down. In that process, you can remove the weeds. That is one step, either through hoe or through plow. In the process of drilling, you can prevent the weeds. Then what are the disadvantages of weeding? What happens if weeds are there in a crop? So they compete with the normal crops for water, nutrients, space and sunlight. Suppose there is a wheat crop growing here. Then if the weeds are growing beside the wheat crop, they also require sunlight, space, nutrients and they compete for water also. So thereby it reduces the yield of the major crop which is growing. Suppose for example wheat. So if the wheat is growing, if there are weeds also growing with the wheat, it decreases the yield of the wheat. So you have to always remove the weeds. So what are the best time to remove the weeds? You have to remember that always remove the weeds before they reach the flowering stage or the fruit stage. That is the best time to remove the weeds. In the vegetative stage only you have to remove the weeds. Then what is one more method? You can remove the weeds through sprays. Separate weedicide sprays are available, which will not damage the normal crop. Weedicide sprays will be diluted with water and sprayed onto the plants. But then there is a clause. The farmers have to be careful while spraying the weedicides. They have to cover their faces with masks while spraying the weedicides. They dilute this weedicide spray and spray onto the crop. These weedicide spray do not damage the normal crop. But one adverse effect while spraying this weedicides is Weedicides contain poisonous substances, chemicals, so thereby they affect the health of the farmer. Farmer may get many skin diseases, or sometimes it even causes cancer to the farmer. So this is all about weeds.